Alright, people, Spider-Verse and
I
Guardians.
am my G-word.
um, which one shall we start off with first?
Well, I guess Guardians of the Galaxy. For you. 3.
The third one.
The third one.
Alright,
You
you.
know, it was one of those movies that felt like it was actually never going to come out because of just all like the beef and shit, and how it got delayed like 3 years.
Apparently,
But
apparently they were in talks with Edgar Wright directing it instead of James Gunn. And I'm interested now. I want to see Edgar Wright direct a Marvel film. You should direct Ant-Man.
oh yeah, he should have directed Ant-Man, but they didn't have him direct Ant-Man because he wanted to like not have him in the MCU.
Have Edgar Wright in the MCU.
No, Edgar Wright didn't want to make a movie set in the MCU.
Alright.
We are so back. We are so.
What do you mean we are so back?
And this is like probably the most active channel.
Isn't it?
Anyway, Guardians 3, best MCU film. Not even recency bias, it literally is the best MCU film.
I don't know, the first one, the first Guardian.
Nah, this movie got a better villain.
Yeah, but the first one has, I don't know. I actually don't know. The third one was great though. I really liked the third one. Lived up to the hype.
It did. Of course, the soundtrack is fantastic, which is no surprise considering how good the first 2 soundtracks were. Some of the best.
It might even be like the second one's obviously the best with the soundtrack, but it might be on the same. It might be on the same or even better than the first soundtrack.
Yeah. I've been listening to the third soundtrack recently a lot more than the first one.
I have
There's
it.
so many good ones.
I have my Spotify randomized.
I walk around thinking I'm Rocket Raccoon listening to Creep
Oh
by
yeah,
Radiohead.
bro. He's
And
the first literally me character because like even Yondu in the second movie was like, I know who you are, boy, cause you are me.
yeah, all that shit that was that they were like setting up for Rocket's character in the earlier films. It just shows how far they've been planning all this shit out. And let's be real, Rocket is probably the best character in the MCU.
Yeah.
I'd say so. Had a good arc. I think something with this movie is that a lot of people were calling it like one of the saddest things you've ever seen, and I mean, I think they're over exaggerating.
It has a good balance.
Yeah, I know, but like I'm just saying that a lot of people who've seen the movie are saying that it's like one of the saddest movies they've ever seen. But it's just not. It's like I've cried.
These motherfuckers need to watch La La Land right now if they're calling this sad.
I cried at the second movie, but I didn't cry at this one. Maybe it's because I was younger, but you know, Yondu died in the second one, and that was sad. And
To be
the
fair,
what?
the second movie did have that one song when he died. The father. Yeah. That's a depressing song. That makes me cry.
Oh yeah, have you also noticed that both the second and third movie in the trilogy, they both end on Rocket's face. Like that's the last shot.
What, in the second and the third movie?
Yeah.
I remember it in the first movie, but not really the second. I need to rewatch the second.
Silly. One of the best MCU films for sure. Top 5.
I don't know. I need to rewatch all of them, to be fair.
Anyway, I think the most surprising element of Guardians 3 was the fact that none of the main characters died.
I
I was putting my money on either Rocket or Drax, and then it got to a point in the movie where I thought there was like no natural way they could kill either of those characters off. And then when Peter Quill was in space, I thought, wow, what a surprise! Star Lord's going to die, and he didn't die. Eyebrow saved him, and he's the only character from the Guardians of the Galaxy confirmed to even have a future in the MCU.
yeah, that scene I was like, oh no, my favorite Star Lord's gonna die, but he didn't.
Yeah, it was very surprising because, like, I'm pretty sure, I'm pretty certain, James Gunn himself said someone was going to die. So he's just a big fat liar. And even without that, you could have just assumed that someone would die because one of the members died in the previous films. You know, Groot died in the first one, and then Yondu in the second.
I was more so surprised because the stakes were so high that no one died.
Yeah, I mean, the fighting a guy who's basically supposed to be like a god.
Yeah.
He creates life and ends it.
Bro,
But
the
even though the
villain.
movie is about what?
The villain. We gotta talk about him. He is an absolute dickhead. No one likes him. And I respect Marvel for doing that because we need more villains that are like that. Because I don't want any more of these shadow I did this because I'm a good guy villain. Nah. I want more. I want more actual bad villains. You know villains that have
Repeat that. What? Repeat the villain thing you just said because
villain
Discord ruined it.
you, you know villains that are like they're reasonable. We need more like actual like really bad horrible villains.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, he kind of was reasonable because he was really trying to like make the perfect race, like a flawless race. But I mean, yeah, he is the first MCU villain that the audience loves to hate. Like the MCU has had so many villains, and they have had some good ones, but there's never been one that you just really hate. Like even Thanos, you can actually sympathize with and understand where he's coming from. But with the High Evolutionary, you just hated him from beginning to end and couldn't wait to see him die. And that alone makes him like a top 5 MCU villain for me.
Bro, you mentioned Thanos though, and I have to say that I was rooting for Thanos in Infinity War, and I'm so sad that Endgame had to like kill him off because he was like actually the hero of the MCU, and they should have ended it at Infinity War.
Yeah, but then we would have never gotten Guardians 3.
All right, uh, did Rocket die in Infinity War?
No.
All right, so they could have just like given us Guardians 3 after Infinity War.
Yeah, with
Without Star Lord.
Rocket. You'd have Rocket and Nebula, Kraglin. Maybe throw in Howard the Duck and Cosmo the Space Dog, and also Adam Warlock. Speaking of Adam Warlock, what were your thoughts on the character?
I was it was built up, but like he, I'm not disappointed because I didn't have high expectations for him and shit going in. But like I can see why someone would be because like he was just a goof for the whole movie.
Yeah, I mean, as someone who doesn't read many comics, I did read like a whole storyline where he is the main character, and let me tell you, he's a lot more serious and important in that storyline than he is in Guardians 3. And it definitely does feel like he was kind of shoehorned into the film because James Gunn felt like he had an obligation to include him due to the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 credit scene. But I mean, I still think he was a nice addition, and he did tie him in to the like main story pretty well by making his race created by the main antagonist. And yeah, even though he was just sort of like there to cause trouble for the Guardians of the Galaxy every now and then, he basically had the same role as the Sovereign in the second movie. But he was a fun character. I like what's his name, the actor.
I don't
Shit.
know.
Will Poulter. Will Poulter. Uh, when he got announced to be the Adam Warlock, I wasn't crazy about it, mainly because I'd never seen him ripped before. But apparently, well, not apparently, but he is a pretty buff guy, and I was happy with the casting choice. He was a pretty cool character, and his entrance was, fantastic with "Crazy on You," and I like that he just nearly kills the Guardians of the Galaxy within the first 10 minutes. I think that's pretty cool. And the element of him being like a child doesn't really bother me because he is basically a child. He was taken out of his cocoon early. He's easily influenced, so it made sense why he like switched to the Guardians like quite easily in the movie. So I didn't really find him to be a problem, but I can see why others might be disappointed with the character.
Yeah. Oh no, we got Dead Space, got Dead Space.
Well, you know why we got Dead Space? I've got so much I'd like to say, but I talked then for like 2 minutes, and you replied with yeah.
I'm sorry, what am I supposed to add on to that?
You don't have to add anything onto that. You can talk about something new.
Okay.
Remember
It
our
was
first
so
podcast? It was shy.
yeah.
Our first podcast where I talked for 95%, and you just agreed with everything.
All right, the movie is so visually beautiful. Let's go with that.
Oh yeah. It's crazy how the MCU in for the past like I don't know 3 years has had shite CGI. But as soon as James Gunn comes in to direct a movie, it looks absolutely stunning. I
'Cause
mean,
it's
he's one of
practical.
the what practical.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
practical effects.
yeah. Everything else in the MCU is just like CGI. I'd be surprised if they actually even turn up on set with half of these MCU movies. But they had some cool set designs with Guardians 3 that you can actually tell were built. And apparently it's like the movie, like it broke a world record for like most prosthetics used in a movie ever, which is pretty cool.
I can see why. I can see why, especially with that. And they go to that planet with all the animal people. I can see why that is.
Yeah, the something Earth. I forgot what it was called.
Middle Earth.
It wasn't Middle Earth. It's fun fact that Earth is actually like Have you ever watched the Spider-Man Unlimited cartoon?
No.
Basically, he goes to like another planet, and it's like full of animal people, and it's like the same planet from Guardians 3. Pretty crazy.
Is that where Man Spider comes from?
I don't know. Anyway, I think the most interesting thing to talk about when it comes to Guardians of the Galaxy is their MCU future.
The future of the Guardians.
The what?
The future of the Guardians.
Yes. Or lack thereof, because for James Gunn at least, this is the end. He's moved on to DC, which is a massive W for Warner Brothers. I mean, I'm happy that he's left Disney, because Disney would assholes to him. So they have to deal with the consequences of their actions. And now Warner Brothers got him all to themselves, and the DC universe will soon rise up and become superior to the MCU, and everyone will be making fun of the MCU. Let's go.
I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm actually excited for the new DC Extended Universe, but we'll talk about that another day. The future of the Guardians. Well, Star-Lord is returning, we know that. Where he's returning, I don't know. I'm not really sure I want him to return.
Me neither.
I feel like they could have just left it at that. They concluded his arc pretty well. But I mean, if they use the character well, then I guess I can't complain. I think the most obvious place to put him would be in the next Avengers movie. He's on Earth, and the Avengers are like Earth's mightiest heroes, of course, so it would just make sense to put him in the Avengers, but you know, what they'd actually do with the character apart from having him just fight with the Avengers, I don't know. Hopefully they'd make it worthwhile.
When I saw that black screen or whatever it was saying Star-Lord will return, I was mad, because that was a good character art for him, and he's gonna return. I was slightly disappointed. I wasn't mad, because it was like such a good like closure to the character, and now it's like it's gonna carry on, and like what's the point in that?
Yeah, I was more confused than anything else, because even if they did have plans for him to return, I didn't think they'd just confirm it in the movie. And I reckon James Gunn didn't have an input in that. It was probably the higher ups that put that little title card at the end. I mean, I think they did that with Thor: Love and Thunder. I'm pretty sure like Chris Hemsworth and Taika Waititi were at a screening, and it said Thor will return, and they were both surprised, even Taika Waititi, who literally directed the movie. So yeah, I think James Gunn's intentions were to like conclude the character and just leave him where he is. But of course, Marvel Studios knows people like Chris Pratt. I mean, every studio wants him to voice some like cartoon character now. So they're gonna want to bring him back. And I'm not angry. I'll save my anger for later when they ruin his character. But if they do him justice, then that's nice.
Yeah.
But the rest of the Guardians,
Gamora's not returning. I know that.
I don't think so. I don't think Zoe Saldana actually wants to return.
I've heard that she does not want to return.
I don't blame her. Imagine having to go through like the Avatar shit and MCU shit. That's exhausting.
You're the blue one. You're the blue and green woman.
Yeah, I mean, she doesn't need to return as well. It's not like she's desperate. She's literally in like like the top 3 highest rated movies ever or something.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That is crazy. But yeah, I don't think Gamora will return. Mantis, maybe. I thought that the obvious route to go would be a Disney Plus show. I don't want them to do that, but I really would not be shocked if that's what they decided to do. Drax, 100% not coming back. Dave Bautista has no interest in returning, and Marvel are definitely not recasting him because everyone knows that everyone's just comfortable with Dave Bautista's Drax. He is literally Drax. You can't just change that. So Dave Bautista as Drax, he's gone forever. He's not even a part of the Guardians anymore. He's literally raising like 100 children. So how do you even fit him in to this action franchise? You don't. You'll leave him. Nebula sort of doing the same shit as Drax, so I don't expect her to return. But the rest of them were still Guardians of the Galaxy, and by the rest of them I mean Rocket, Groot, who is like huge now, Adam Warlock, Kraglin, Cosmo the space dog, and that little furry piece of shit. Forgot its name.
The people in the credit scene.
Yeah, basically everyone in the credits.
Yeah.
And I mean, maybe Marvel will get a new director to make another Guardians film. I kind of don't want them to do that, but at the same time, I don't really want them to let characters like Adam Warlock go to waste. Because even though I did say I enjoyed him in Guardians 3, it wasn't enough. You can't bring a character like Adam Warlock into the MCU and only use him in one movie where he's not even that important to the plot. You have to bring him back at some point. And if you're going to bring him back, story-wise, it would make sense for you to also bring back the rest of the Guardians of the Galaxy who were in that credit scene. So I do think they will come back. Maybe that'll be in the next Avengers movie, or maybe they'll make more Guardians movies. I'm hoping that they just show up in Avengers movies and they'll just let Guardians of the Galaxy be a trilogy, because I don't want them to ruin it, because Guardians of the Galaxy is like one of the greatest trilogies in my opinion. That may be a pretty crazy take, but it's very consistent. Yeah.
I think because they made that credit scene, they're gonna return. Because like, why would they make the credit scene?
So they can bring back Redbone to come and get your love.
That makes sense. What?
And there was that little girl. That little girl who joined the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, but she's irrelevant.
Nah, apparently she's like some really important character in the comic.
Oh.
And she's like best friends with the little girl from Thor: Love and Thunder.
Eh.
Maybe they're lesbians. I don't know. And Marvel has been doing a lot of like child superheroes. So it definitely seems like they're setting up like the new generation of Avengers who they can use for years and years. So I think they're going to want to bring her back, and for Adam Warlock, they're going to have to bring him back. So there's no other way around it. You have to bring the whole Guardians of the Galaxy back in some form. Maybe more Guardians films. Maybe just in like Avengers movies or whatever.
Yeah. But what's your opinion on Groot saying "I love you guys"?
You didn't say it.
Yeah, exactly. Because I was with my uncle Bob in the cinema, and he was like, "What? Why would he say that?" But I was like, "You see, this is symbolism of us spending time with Groot and knowing his language."
Yeah, that was actually a very nice touch. I just think that whole like ending sequence was like pretty much perfect. The Dog Days Are Over was a perfect song choice, and just the conclusions to each character were satisfying. It just felt, right. It didn't feel forced or uh, out of nowhere. It felt right for these characters to get to this stage. I hope they don't pull an Iron Man 3 where they act like everything's all over and then they bring him back in the next movie like nothing ever happened.
I am retired from being Star Lord. Alright, what's your opinion on the mask coming back in Infinity War out of
Oh,
nowhere?
yeah.
Because I didn't notice that at first, but then when I rewatched Guardians 2 for, Guardians 3, I was like, why is the mask back?
Oh yeah, I did notice that like way back in 2018 because I was a little nerd back then. Still kind of am, but whatever. I pay attention to details, and I noticed that in Guardians 2, his mask broke, and in Infinity War and Endgame, he had it back, which I didn't think much of because if Rocket can fix Yondu's arrow, then why wouldn't he be able to fix Star-Lord's mask? So it made sense to me, at least, even though nobody picked it up. But he could just make a new one from scratch. Rocket is a genius, really. And then you find out on James Gunn's Twitter that he intended on. Actually, I don't think he actually said this. What? No. James Gunn tweeted that it was just some shitty excuse where he said Star-Lord forgot to bring his mask on their trip, so he just never had it in the movie. Which I guess kind of makes sense because he was drunk at the time, so he would forget. But that's just a cover-up for the Russo brothers doing something that he didn't want for the characters. I mean, he has expressed that there are a few things that the Russo brothers did with the Guardians of the Galaxy that he wasn't a fan of. And James Gunn never intended on bringing back the mask. I don't know if he's openly stated that. I think he has at some point. But even if he hasn't, it's obvious he did not want the mask to come back after Guardians 2. But since they brought it back in Infinity War and Endgame, he just made up that random excuse. Because he's not going to let the Russo brothers determine what he does with his own movie. And you even notice in Thor: Love and Thunder that he never wears a mask.
What?
Interesting.
I
Very
just
interesting.
I just wiped that movie out of my memory.
Yeah, it's literally a shit stain on the Guardians of the Galaxy legacy. I hate it.
That is so stupid, man. Like, I understand, right, watching Guardians 3 that they didn't need 4. But, like, what was the point in the end of Endgame?
I don't know. I mean, I'm glad they didn't put Thor in Guardians 3 because he would have carried everyone.
Yeah.
And I mean, he doesn't have that family dynamic with him.
I feel like the Guardians could have been more in bloody the bloody Love and Thunder, before the split.
Yeah, maybe it would have like fixed the movie a bit.
Impossible challenge.
Yeah, maybe James Gunn should have been like a writer or something. I don't know. That movie was terrible. Worst MCU movie.
Oh my god. Rare taco with TTL.
Anything else you'd like to say about Guardians?
I don't know. I have no idea. All we haven't talked about is like his little friends in the flashbacks.
Oh, Rocket Chiefs and Floor.
Yeah,
Yeah, very, very sad. Very, very sad. It's a very emotional moment when he's in like animal heaven or whatever, and then they're like waving at him.
that was
Yeah.
sad.
Fun fact: the otter, Lila, is voiced by the woman that plays Hawkeye's wife. Just a fun little fact.
My
Velma.
queen.
Hmm.
Nah, but
Yeah.
they had good chemistry, Lila and Rocket.
Yeah. The storyline about the animals being experimented on was like way more emotional than literally anything happening in Love and Thunder. And it only made up like a small portion of the film. Very impactful though, especially when well, this is a spoiler podcast. Especially when Lila dies and the other animals express a high level of concern, while Rocket is crying. You know, that moment is definitely one of the most impactful moments in the MCU, for sure.
They made me feel for an animated raccoon. That is that's some next level shit.
And it's like been somewhat confirmed that the reason Rocket likes taking other people's prosthetic body parts, like that one guy's eye, that one guy's leg, and Bucky's arm, is because it reminds him of Rocket, Teeth, and Floor, because they were like robots, kind of, or whatever. They had metal limbs and shit. Which is a nice little detail. Yeah, love it.
Everything's connected.
Mm.
Right.
Everything is connected.
Are we done with Guardians? How long have we been talking? Half an hour. We need to get on to this next movie.
I know. Alright.
Spider-Verse.
Yeah, so somehow Spider-Verse was better than Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I mean, Guardians set the bar very high for comic book movies this year. I mean, they just casually dropped the best MCU film. And then Sony was just like, we can do better than that. You know? And they did do better. It's the most beautiful looking animated film I have ever seen. Maybe. I don't know. Spirited Away looked pretty nice, but yeah, Spider-Verse, that was something else. All those different animation styles. Gwen Stacy's universe specifically looked amazing, even though you should probably like burn that flag in the background.
Base.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean,
Oh, yeah, have you seen all those people on like YouTube Shorts and TikTok saying like Gwen is transgender?
yeah, I know it's annoying, isn't it? I mean, how you're allowed to support something without being a part of it, you know?
Yeah. Speaking.
Do you think the storyline with her dad is about her being trans, but it's literally about her being Spider-Woman? Are they like stupid as well? Yeah, I mean, even though transgender kids is not a very comforting topic, I think the Gwen Stacy scenes were like my favorite scenes in the movie, because they weren't only visually stunning, but you know, there was also a lot going on. I think I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion, but I think the relationship between Gwen and her dad is more interesting than Miles and his parents.
Yeah.
I mean, parenting is like a really huge theme in that movie. you've got Miles and his parents, which are like the main focus of the parts that take place in his universe. Same with Gwen and her dad. And then when Peter B. Parker comes on screen, he's literally got a baby with him. Miguel is guilty over causing like the death of his universe, which includes his child. He's literally looking back at footage of him playing with a child, I'm pretty sure. Or was that his wife? I don't fucking know. Either way, pretty sure he had children. We'll just say that he did. He probably did. And what else is there? Oh yeah, Spider-Woman is pregnant. I guess. Maybe in the next movie she'll have a miscarriage, and then she'll like blame herself because she's been doing Spider-Woman stuff while being pregnant. Or she's been doing alcohol. I don't fucking know. Who knows?
Bro, you know when the movie started, it blew me away. I was like, oh my god, this is actually sick. And it like blew me away so much. I remember like sweating because like I was like overwhelmed by how good it was.
In like what part? Like
Just like the way it started, like the animation.
I mean,
was
the drums.
Oh my god, the drums. Maybe it's just Whiplash PTSD.
I liked the drums, even though it was kind of difficult to hear Gwen's voice over the drums, which apparently is like a big issue in cinemas right now. There's like apparently audio issues. I mean, that was the only time I experienced any issues with the sound, but for some reason, a lot of cinemas are having some big problems with it. But oh well, it's crazy that the movie has like at least 15 minutes. I think it's probably like 20 minutes gone by before the title card even appears. That's pretty cool. That's when you know you're in for an interesting ride.
Yeah.
Because so much shit has happened and the movie's only just started.
Cray.
Bro really just said cray.
Nah, like where do we go with this, man? This is, oh my god, this is the movie.
What?
This is the movie. Like what do we start with? I mean, we've already started, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, we have started. We started like 4 minutes ago or something. Miguel O'Hara's entrance was pretty cool.
Bro,
the guy just showed up, his awesome theme played, and then he was like about to bite Renaissance Vulture.
That was cool. You know what annoys me about people's reception towards Miguel?
What? That is racist.
No, I like that. No, I hate that people call him a villain because like if he's the villain of this movie, then Doctor Strange from No Way Home is the villain of No Way Home because they play the same exact bloody role.
Yeah, this was something we wanted to talk about. I almost forgot about that. Yeah, I noticed that like literally while I was watching the movie, I noticed wow, he really does have the same role as Doctor Strange because like he was being reasonable and his whole character is basically being concerned about the multiverse, just like Doctor Strange in like every single movie. And the Spider-Man disrupts that, and he wants to save someone or more than one person, but it can cause the multiverse to collapse or whatever. So they have a fight, and they both have their own reasons as to why they believe this is right or something else, or and yeah, there is a lot of similarities between Miguel and Doctor Strange. They both care about the fate of the multiverse, and they're willing to sacrifice the lives of others to protect the lives of many more. But Spider-Man is all about saving everybody, and that's where the conflict happens in both No Way Home and Across the Spider-Verse with Doctor Strange and Miguel O'Hara. You know, in those movies.
The only reason why you could argue that Miguel is a villain and Doctor Strange isn't is that Miguel is a lot more, aggressive with how he does it. But even then, it's reasonable because like it's saving one person or the entire like of that universe. Like with the Indian guy, like his whole universe is we don't know if it's got destroyed yet because of the bloody cliffhanger, but it could be because Spider-Man chose to save one person.
I know. I just don't understand how people can call him a villain. A villain is someone with like bad intentions, but Miguel isn't intending on killing everybody. He's just intending on not saving someone so that everyone can live. You know, there's literally that is not a villain. That is just a different viewpoint to the main protagonist, and therefore there is a conflict. That makes sense, you know? Like, yeah, he kind of bullies Miles for the whole thing, but you know, he was in a bad mood anyway, you know. He was if I had the responsibilities to take care of the multiverse and a child got in the way, I'd be pretty annoyed.
He's the not funny Spider-Man.
Yeah. Woohoo. Oscar Isaac did a good performance as well. Pretty good.
Bro, it's so cool because like the voice acting in this movie, you don't know it's like because they're celebrity voice actors, you think that they're Miles, that they're Gwen. You don't see like Haley Steinfeld or Oscar Isaac.
Who the fuck voices Miles though? Who the fuck is that guy?
I don't know.
I've seen him in interviews, but I ain't got a clue who he is. I couldn't name one of the movies he's been in, or where else I've seen his face. And I've only seen his face in behind the scenes and interviews where he's trying to rizz up Haley Steinfeld, but he just fails.
Maybe he's just a voice actor.
I think I hit puberty. No, let's talk about the Spot.
The Spot
He
is a
was
great
cool.
villain.
He is a great villain. Isn't it crazy that a minor villain like the Spot is actually like the main villain of a trilogy about the Spider-Verse? Like, who the hell saw that coming? He was literally just a standard white guy stealing money from ATMs, and then as soon as he turns black, he wants everything for himself. And he's like really scary and dangerous.
I need to stop watching memes because
Have you seen that video where he's like, I'm gonna say the N-word?
yeah. You gotta carry. What were you saying?
Oh yeah, he got a really cool theme. I actually think his theme is the best in the movie. Like, yeah, Gwen Stacy has a cool theme. Miguel has a really great theme, but the Spot's theme is actually scary, man.
I need to re-listen to that because, for me, I get so like engrossed in the film. I can't tell like whose themes are whose because like I'm so invested. I don't know.
When you're in the moment, you don't really notice it. It's only when like you go online and start watching videos and seeing people's thoughts that you really notice shit.
Yeah. The only like noticeable one was like the Prowler in the first movie. That's the only like
Oh yeah.
ever time like I've noticed.
Well, that was another easy adventure from Spider-Man. You know,
But the spot was, I love how like it was all connected, especially with the spider in the first movie, that being all glitchy. And when I watched the first movie, I didn't like think of it like, why is the spider glitchy? But like this movie still explained it, and like it was sick.
oh yeah, it's very good sequel. You know, it's ideally what a sequel should be. You know, expanding on stuff that we learned in the first movie, while also bringing like a new flavor to it. You know, it's a good sequel, and a lot of people find it. I don't. I was gonna say a really fancy word, but it couldn't come to mind in time. But a lot of people just aren't a fan of the movie because it's only one part of a movie. Because it ends on that cliffhanger. But I'd happily argue against that. It still feels pretty complete. Like, yeah, there are still some unresolved issues, but there is like an arc in the film that is completed by the end. Which is Gwen Stacy's arc. She's literally the focus for the first 20 minutes of the film. And it's all about her being this lonely emo and not having any friends or not being able to find the right band. And then at the end of the movie, she does find the right band, and she's like, "You want to join my band?" And she like, I don't know who she's talking to when she said that. She says like, "You want in?" I don't know if she's saying that to. I hope it's to me. I'd really like to be a part of Gwen Stacy's band.
I think that was what it was. She was speaking out to you, specifically you.
Because as Mary Jane said in the first movie, we are all Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And they're counting on us.
Everyone is Spider-Man, except Tom Holland. He's not Spider-Man. Not my Spider-Man.
Iron Boy Jr. sucks. So, what were your thoughts on the cliffhanger ending? Were you pretty angry, or are you? Or are you fine with it? I'm fine with it personally.
I knew that it was gonna happen. I was just shocked as of when it was gonna happen, because I thought that the movie was like 40 minutes in, and then when it did that, I was like, Jesus Christ, this movie is
Jesus Christ.
It's one of those movies that is like long and like slow pace, but it's like fast for some reason.
Oh yeah, like I thought like they'd introduce like the Spider Society like half an hour into the movie or something. But I swear it only actually made an appearance in like, I don't know, like an hour in at least.
Probably.
Maybe even more than an hour. It could have been like, the movie is like 2 hours and 20 minutes, so it was probably like an hour and a half at least, which is like an average movie runtime.
That movie is as long as Fight Club. That is mad.
You know what I'm a bit fucking pissed at though?
What?
How it was like literally confirmed that Japanese Spider-Man would be in the movie, but he literally was not here. I did not see no Japanese Spider-Man. Where was he?
In the sequel. You gotta wait.
Damn. I mean, I guess they're saving the best to last.
They put the bloody Mrs. Delmore from Venom, but not Japanese Spider-Man. What's going on?
They even put Lego Spider-Man in there.
Yeah, but he's the best.
Yeah, even Miguel says he's the best. He's literally the only character that gets complimented by Miguel.
I love that.
Yeah, and the fact that it was animated by a 14-year-old.
That
That's so
is
cool.
mad. That is mad. I knew of his channel before like watching the movie, but like I still can't wrap my head around the fact that for one he's 14 and for two he's animated like Lego movie level stuff.
Maybe they should do that in the next movie. Like,
But
just find a bunch of like small people online who have a certain animation style, and just like invite them to do a part for the movie. You know, would be kind of nice, because not only are they like they're making like a great movie, but like they're helping other people out by giving them an opportunity to be a part of it.
yeah,
So it's also a wholesome movie just simply for existing, even if the story wasn't good. Even though the story probably will be good. But you know what I'm saying?
man, I love that scene though. The comedy in that was funny. I love how J. Jonah Jameson's lines was just ripped from Spider-Man 2 and 3.
Yeah. Speaking of J. Jonah Jameson, I'll just love the fact that in every single universe he's just the same. J.K. Simmons.
Every universe
Like,
except Spectacular.
yeah, literally, even the multiverse is aware that J.K. Simmons can only be J. Jonah Jameson.
Exactly. Not everyone can wear the cigar.
The mustache.
The
The Hitler
mustache.
stash. Bro, why was Spectacular Spider-Man so small, though?
I don't know.
I think it's probably something to do with, like, the animation style. Like, I guess because of the animation style, it just makes him look like he'd be a small guy. But, like, and he's supposed to be, like, 5'6" or something. Like, that's, like, average Spider-Man height. Unless you're Miguel O'Hara, who's, like, 7 foot tall, 7 foot wide.
I have no idea. I was just happy to see my boy because he should have had that season 3.
I mean, maybe they'll come back to it. Yeah, I know. They're coming back to the X-Men animated series from the 90s to make more episodes, so you know, you never know what they might do in the future. I mean, they're clearly aware that everyone loves Spectacular Spider-Man because they put him in the movie. So you never know. It's possible.
Sony, being Sony, is just gonna milk everything that everyone loves. They're gonna milk Andrew, and they're gonna milk Spectacular.
Oh yeah, Andrew had a little cameo in the movie.
Oh yeah.
I really do hope that after Beyond the Spider-Verse, they just sort of end it. Like, no more Spider-Verse movie. I know that probably won't happen, but it would be nice just to end things off on a trilogy. You know, like the good old days.
It's good. You know Secret Wars?
Yeah.
How they get everything, like a bunch of superheroes from different like universes. Are they gonna have like different animated characters? Like, I'm so confused.
Doubt it.
So
It'll
weird.
probably just be live action characters.
But then, how come Andrew and Toby weren't like glitching in No Way Home? This multiverse thing confuses me.
Yeah, I think you're better off just not thinking about it too much. You know, it's just, there's gonna be stuff like that. Even when I watched No Way Home, I thought, this doesn't align with the rules of the Spider-Verse. And the same can really be said about just any Marvel movie about the multiverse. But I mean, you gotta think about it. You know, Sony and Disney doing their own shit. They can't possibly keep up with each other. So this type of shit, you just better off not thinking about it too much.
Alright, I did it for Cars. I gotta do it for Spider-Man now.
Yes, you do. I mean, nah, never mind.
What were you gonna say?
Apparently, what?
What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say that maybe because they were brought into maybe because Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield were brought into Tom's universe via magic instead of technology, that the circumstances of how their body would react in the universe would be different. But the Spider-Verse movie just simply confirmed that simply being in another universe will like mess you up or whatever.
So confusing.
Yeah. Don't even get me started on Doctor Strange and the Little Nerd back in 1999.
You see, that is the accurate definition of that world. Not because the 616 is the comic, but just because Oscar Isaac says it.
Yeah, if Oscar Isaac says it, it must be true. Yo, Oscar Isaac, he's the first, actor to be in both, not both, but to be in all 20th Century Fox Marvel movies, Sony Marvel movies, and then Disney Marvel movies. He's been in, every major studio's Marvel. That's pretty, quite an interesting flex. You know, no one else can say that.
Where was he in 20th Century Fox?
He played Apocalypse in X-Men Apocalypse.
Oh, I forgot about that movie.
Because it's shit.
I only...
What? Huh?
X-Men
You carry on.
Apocalypse is just that one scene with Quicksilver.
Oh, yeah. And apart from that, doesn't have much else going for it.
Nah.
I remember hearing a couple of years ago that apparently they're making a Spider-Verse movie, but it's just about the Spider-Women. Pretty fucking gay, if you ask me. I mean, I've got nothing against women, of course. You know, I like women, but to do a movie exclusively about the Spider-Women, it just seems forced. Why would there be a big threat in the multiverse or whatever, and then one of the Spider-Women goes, "Oh, let me just get the girls together." It's not real. It doesn't happen. You don't think, "Oh yeah, I'll just get all the girls because girl power. Never mind all the Spider-Men that could be really helpful in this battle. We're just gonna risk losing to make a political statement." It just, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense. I mean, unless they find a reason for it just to be about the Spider-Women, a reason that doesn't feel completely contrived, then I'm sure it'll be fine. But I mean, as for now, I really don't give a shit about this solo Spider-Women project that is supposed to be happening at some point.
I can imagine it just being No Way Home with women. Like Spider-Gwen instead of Spider-Man.
Yeah. I mean, I know Beyond the Spider-Verse is going to have Gwen Stacy variants. Maybe they'll bring Emma Stone back.
Oh, my wife.
Bryce Howard. That's right.
Oh, the one from bloody Spider-Man 3.
Bryce Howard. I swear on Instagram she doesn't fucking shut up about Gwen Stacy.
What? Why her?
She actually won't shut up. She watched Spider-Verse, and then she's like, "Oh my god, as a former Gwen Stacy, I can confirm that this movie is in fact spectacular." And then the next post minutes later, all this Spider-Verse talk is really making me think about my blonde hair days. Shut up. You're literally in Jurassic World movies. No one wants you. I'm being too mean. she's actually not a bad Gwen Stacy.
She just wasn't in the film. Really.
Yeah. She was alright in the Spider-Man 3. She was better than Mary Jane.
Oh yeah. Why did he use her to make Mary Jane get jealous?
No. I mean,
Like it should have been the other
why?
way around.
Exactly. Like you want to like go to a far extent to make Gwen jealous so that she'd want you. I mean, how is like Peter Parker got what is it like 5 baddies after him, and he picks the awkward ginger bitch? It's just like she's hot and all, but she's not worth the hassle. She's got commitment issues.
He could have gone with Ursula, the best one, right? The one that gives him cookies and chocolate cake, and he's still chasing Ginger. He's a simp.
I know. And he's literally got Betty Grant at work.
Your shots are so good.
Maybe I'll shoot you sometime.
Oh my days.
Anything else we should say about Spider-Man?
Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is a 5-star out of 5-star, the greatest animated movie of all time. I'm gonna watch it again in cinema.
Really?
On my birthday, because Mum asked if I wanted to watch Flash on my birthday, and I was like, after I was like watching the trailers, right? I was like, this don't look like my type of film. I don't want to watch this. But she still asked me if I wanted to watch Flash, and I was like, no, not really. But then she said, is there anything in the cinema that you would want to watch? And I was like, other than Spider-Man again, nothing really. And then she just went, all right, we'll watch Spider-Man again.
Yeah, but like Michael Keaton, Supergirl is a baddie. You gotta watch it for that, man.
Nah, it's just I don't know. I'm not gonna watch it on my birthday.
Yo, why don't you just watch Asteroid City?
Wait, that's already out.
Well, it'll probably be out by your birthday. You want me to like? I can check right now.
Yeah, but I'm not watching it with my bloody sister, am I?
Why not?
Because she don't have taste. Let's say that.
True. It literally, yeah. Asteroid City opens on the 23rd of June.
23rd. Alright. Us two gotta watch that.
Yeah, we can do.
We gotta do Nope all over again.
Gotta do what?
Nope all over again.
Oh, yeah. So, no, none of your sister involved?
No.
Okay, we've gone off topic now. So, should we end it off now?
I think we've said everything we've needed to say.
Yeah.
Goodbye. Only an hour long. Wow.
Yeah. I think this was a pretty solid podcast, you know? There wasn't too many, like, awkward pauses. There was, like, one, and then we joked about it after, so it wasn't awkward anymore. And we didn't go off topic too much until just then, when we started talking about the cinema and whatever. Yeah, good podcast. Yeah, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, 5-star.
5-star.
Very good movie. Even better than the original, in my opinion. Which is also one of the best comic book movies.
Goodbye, people.